Protect yourself. Good day, everybody. I'm Sam Shihab with the law firm of Shihab Burke, and with me,
Brian Burke from that very same place.
Every Monday at 6 o'clock, we have an hour of time. We spend some time with the community to answer questions about immigration law, specifically employment immigration. Also, we touch base on family immigration. We're immigration attorneys. We practice immigration law throughout the U.S. And this is our opportunity to sit down and have a chat for an hour and answer questions. We typically begin with about 15 or 20-minute conversation about a topic of interest, and then go on and answer questions you may have. So if you have these questions, go ahead and post them now, and we will get to them as soon as possible. Today's topic is protect yourself, 5 things you may do, or you should do, or you should think about doing to prepare for the new administration. Now, these are suggestions. Yeah. There are many other things that we can do, Brian, differently, but this is kind of to whet the palate about ideas that you could do to be in a position to be prepared for a more, perhaps, higher scrutiny, more restrictive immigration administration.
Yeah, I guess I would emphasize that, these are nice to-dos, great if you can do them. Sometimes, the desires of an immigration attorney don't line up with what is potential in reality.
It may not apply to you.
Yeah.
It may apply to your friend, and it's the kind of thing that you should think about is, about my immigration status, my immigration situation. Is there anything I can do today so I can be in a better position tomorrow? And that's the conversation.
Yeah.
So, first one, Brian.
Yeah, Sam, I have slides for us.
Nice.
Yes, so we can see a little question floating
above. I'm going to take my copy too.
Yeah, not only do we have slides for us, we have slides that show up in the background so everybody can know what we're talking about for those who, tune in a little bit late.
Yep.
So, thing number 1 on our list, Sam, is an easy one, or for some people will be anyway. Extend your H-1B. So during the prior Donald Trump administration, we saw all sorts of fun policy changes that resulted in less H-1B approvals. And that was miserable for a lot of people. And
I think 4 or 5-fold the denials
increased
during the increase in denial during the Trump administration last time.
Yeah, that's entirely right. And I have a sort of a laundry list of things we had last time. There were short-term H-1B approvals. I guess it's more of what's on the table for this time, but some of it was on the table last time. There's short-term H-1B approvals were a problem. There's the concept of redefining what a specialty occupation is. What I'd be worried about is, well, will your job still be a specialty occupation? And changing requirements for what a specialty occupation or how you qualify for one. Like, there's talk about changing the way we determine degrees relating to a specialty occupation.
And prevailing wages.
Yeah, and prevailing wages. I thought I had that on my list, but yeah, prevailing wages. If the wages go up suddenly, if your employer has to pay you, 50% more, maybe they just choose to eliminate the position. So.
What about the issue regarding vendors and 2 layers and 3 layers? Is that something that could come up again?
Yeah, I sort of mentally group that with the short-term H-1B approvals. For those who aren't aware, for IT consultants, they do contractual-based work, and during the prior administration, the USCIS, or the prior Donald Trump administration, got very obsessive about seeing the details of contractual relationships, so they knew they would only approve the H-1B for as long as, the client said there's work available. If it was a 6-month work order, you get a 6-month approval. It's a year, you get a year, et cetera, et cetera. And those times could be here again, resulting in some very, very fun H-1B approval periods.
And it's very expensive. I mean, we've seen in the last administration 1-week approvals.
Oh yeah, I mean 1-day ones, even ones that were retroactive, essentially, basically approval for a period of time that's already passed by the time USCIS approves the cases.
Which puts somebody immediately out of status.
Yeah, a bit of a nightmare. And, there are people who are filing just tons and tons of H-1Bs for. So, if you file your H-1B right now, under present policy, you send that H-1B out the door, you get a 3-year approval. And that 3-year approval, whether do the math here, a presidential administration lasts 4 years, you weather a good part of it. I guess you can't account for the fact that you might need an H-1B amendment, or that's really the kind of thing.
Change employment.
Yeah, change of employer. But if you're planning to stay put for the next couple of years, get an H-1B in right now. I guess, Sam, a related question is, how can I file my H-1Bs up in, like a year or 2 years? Not right now. Can I extend my H-1B right now? Do I have a means to do it?
It depends.
Yeah.
So if the H-1B that you are on has been, it will expire, let's say, more than 6 months.
Yeah.
8 months, a year and a half, and you're desiring to extend it for 3 years to be in a better position.
Yeah.
You can closely look at your H-1B, see if you received a raise, a change in salary, it has been minor change in duties or material change in duties, I should say. Yeah. These can trigger what we call an amend plus extend.
Yeah.
And an amend plus extend allows you to go back even though the H-1B hasn't expired or will not expire in the upcoming 6 months, let's say 8 months, a year and a half. You can go back to USCIS and say, I got a raise, my job description materially changed, and because of that, I would like to file an H-1B amend plus extend.
Yeah. Make the change now and give me a full 3 years based upon that.
Give me 3 more years. Yeah. And this administration has been giving the 3 years without challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really depends upon your employer. I mean, if you work for a small employer who's, game to help you out, that's where you're more likely to be able to have that flexibility to do that. Versus, I've talked to some people where I've thought an H-1B filing earlier than you might have otherwise done it would be beneficial for reasons X, Y, Z, and sometimes they can't do it, but it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah. Along the same lines, I think, very short notice, but along the same lines, if you are in a situation where you find yourself in a project that's ending soon, it's a good time to talk to your employer and have a frank conversation about what are the projections for me.
Yeah.
We're coming through a difficult administration. I don't think being laid off and during the grace period, I don't think this new administration is going to accommodate this switch to B visa and extend your grace period indefinitely until you find another job. I don't think this administration will accommodate any of these informal accommodations that the previous the current administration is doing.
that if you really think about it, a change to B2, then you file an H-1B with premium processing, will approve both at the same time. That's crazy. That effectively extends the grace period to what?
6 months.
Plus 6 months. Yeah, crazy.
But that's gone, probably, more than likely.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So extend your H-1B, if you can, is number 1. Yeah. What's number 2, Brian? Travel and or obtain a new H-1B visa stamp.
Yeah.
So when the new administration comes on board, ambassadors change in many places.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah, they change in many places. And with ambassadors changing and consulate changing, leadership within this consulate change, and policy implementation through the State Department will change. Now, to what extent we're going to see that, we don't know. All what we know, what we've seen before during the H-1B, during the Trump administration the first time, things got dicey.
Yeah.
So this is your opportunity before January 20th. Go ahead if you need to go visit home.
Yeah.
Through the Christmas vacation, do it now. Don't postpone until next year.
Yeah.
Maybe next year you should try to kind of figure things out before you make that move. And if things are dicey, maybe you can skip because you've gone home that last year, and therefore maybe mom and dad back home can say, you know what, don't worry about it. We've seen you recently. All is good. Yeah. So travel now.
That pressure is real. I hear that all the time. It's my parents haven't seen me for a long time, and I cannot not travel anymore. So get it in now for sure. Yeah. On top of just changing who's at the top of the consulate, obviously the administration, includes the Department of State, and every new attitudes filter down. But I mean, other policies, you can hit travel bans. Depending upon where you're from, you can be caught up in travel ban. Not 2.0, I guess it'd be 3.0 at this point. But I mean, if you're from Iran, for example, get it while the getting's good, because that's a realistic possibility of that.
Many countries, yeah, not only Iran, but many countries that is going to be on this crazy list that they're going to come out with to justify it. Who knows?
No, I mean, I'm going to think of Lebanon would probably be a good one on the list.
And so on and so forth.
Yeah. There's another thing about getting a visa now and travel and getting your needs met at the consulate, or really kind of any U.S. government services. Efficiency is coming. Government efficiency, increased government efficiency is coming, and that the talk has been about getting rid of jobs and getting rid of jobs where they're needed to process immigration applications is going to slow things down. And I think if you are in an America First administration and you're going to think about what really helps Americans, visa processing at the consulate abroad, Department of State staff to process visa applications, that doesn't really help Americans. USCIS, well, those are, I think they can very easily,
So what you're saying is reduction in staff. I mean, obviously the biggest thing is the Department of Efficiency that's being created is
allegedly to be created.
To slash down. They're saying they would like to knock off 25% of the federal employees. These are wasting time and money. How many of those are going to be from the U.S. Department of Labor? Homeland Security, USCIS, I think, are immune because these are not taxpayers' money.
I know they are self-funded, but
not the Department of Labor is not self-funded.
Department of Labor, they're already starved as it is, and so you're talking about labor certification then, I guess.
Yes.
And they already have an issue of slowness. It takes 15 months and growing to get a labor certification out of those guys. I mean, I'm going to come back and bring this conversation back to the Department of State.
Yeah.
There was an absolute brain drain at the Department of State. They were not hiring. I think they had a hiring freeze on during the prior administration, and visas were slow. So get it while you can right now.
All right. So what is number 3, Brian?
Yes. Number 3, a good one, I think, and one we haven't really talked about here, extend H-4 EADs.
So if somebody has more than 6 months of EAD, can you extend that?
Well, conventional wisdom says no, but practically USCIS is willing to take those cases in certain circumstances. If you're extending the primary H-1B holders H-1B, we would usually recommend extend the derivatives H-4 at the same time.
And the EAD. And they're approving them now.
Yeah, they are approving them.
Yeah.
No guarantees. I mean, sometimes they can come back and say you're early, but what you get is an EAD that lasts as long as the H-1B. And if you extend your H-1B for 3 years, you get that EAD for 3 years. And I guess we haven't talked about the elephant in the room. That is why. Because it seems that the H-4 EAD is likely to be on the chopping block for the incoming administration. And that seems to be one they can accomplish to get rid of it. It's created by regulation, and so it can be taken away by regulatory action. And the only thing is, do they get around to it? And it seems like they might have the time to do it. I mean, the great disappointment from a matter of perspective, of course, on that one for the prior Donald Trump administration is they did a lot of things too late and not quite the right way, and they sort of lost in court on a lot of issues. If they start from the beginning, and if they start from the beginning and do it right for them, wrong for immigrants,
they will do it
they can get it done.
Yeah, they will do it wrong and right. They will probably not approve the EAD, sit on them, and then move on with a potentially a regulatory change that take 60 days to remove that, if they want to do that.
Yeah. Well, a related question then, Sam. So, can they take away the H-4 EAD that's already in my hand? If say I get an EAD in February, I file it early, get it in February before they start making any changes. Can they take away my EAD, my lovely 3-year EAD that Attorney Sam Shihab said I should get? Can they?
The answer to that is, can they do it? Yes. Will they do it? Extremely unlikely.
Yeah, it's really hard for them. I think it's theoretically possible they can proclaim it, but to take an the EAD out of your hand and say that's suddenly invalid.
Benefit was gained in the prior administration because you can, in immigration law, you can implement change in the law in a retroactive fashion.
Yeah.
In criminal law in the U.S., it's unconstitutional to implement. You cannot make a crime today. You cannot change the law today for an act that happened in the past to make it a crime.
Yeah.
So that's unconstitutional because when you did the act,
Ex post facto law, sort of.
yeah, and when we did the act in the past, you didn't know it's illegal, so they cannot do it retroactively. With immigration law, it can be done retroactively. However, I doubt this administration will do that, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a rare, in that, there's the can they take away the H-4 EAD? They can regulate it away, and that's something where you can try to fight that. You're going to lose if you try to fight that in court. But if they try to take it away retroactively, that's a big old court battle. I would suspect anyway.
Yeah.
I think there's more scrutiny on retroactively taking. Well,
Yes.
I suspect there would be anyway.
Yes.
So extend the EADs because it'll keep you working, and 3 years is better than
A nice time.
Yeah.
A nice time.
Yeah.
And then, after 3 years, maybe something went to court and we win, or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but 3 years is better than less than 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So prepare for an I-45 interview is on my list here, and I guess I'm going to answer the why first. Is because they were interviewing everybody. All green card applications were getting interviews during the prior Donald Trump administration, and you expressed some skepticism when I brought this one up. You said do they have the manpower? It's a waste of time. Am I crazy? Is that what I thought it was crazy last time, yet they did it. I mean, my take on this is realistically, most of these interviews will be a waste of time. However, basically, there will be more scrutiny on everything. They will be, somebody who would not normally.
So how do you prepare for an adjustment status interview?
Review your file. A couple things you can do. Make sure to make it easy to approve. Make sure your file's up to date. Make sure you've filed your AR-11s. Make sure you filed your supplement Js. Make sure you have medical exams that are current to make that officer able to make an easy decision when your priority date comes up. Plus, your priority date doesn't have to come up. They can interview you. Raise your hand if you've been to an interview for somebody whose priority date is nowhere near current. Get my arm on the screen there. I've been to a good chunk of them.
5A or 5B, Brian. File for your 4A. File for your advanced parole and EAD and try to get 5 years. Now, you may not get it because by the time they get to it, it may be too late, but file and request it. Because they're giving 5 years now.
Do you think that, Sam, do you think that 5 years staying?
No, that 5 years not staying.
Yeah.
But file it for now, try to get it. If you don't get it, you tried.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All these things that we are taking sort of for granted now. We haven't even talked about this, but you're entirely right. 5-year EAD, AP, no.
It's not going to happen.
No.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I guess they probably can't take away the filing fee waiver sort of thing for people who filed before April 1st, 2024, but I expect people to be filing. Fortunately for those, it seems like there's not really a lot of discretion in the approval of those. It's just a matter of speed, and I expect those to slow down, that's for sure. That's a good point.
All right, let's get to 5. I got ahead of myself.
No.
5.
Bing.
Number 5. Talk to an attorney about your case if you have a concern. So we don't know anything about your cases. We don't know about what's going on with you. You know about your case. And about every other person, there is something in their case that bothers them.
Yeah.
And this is the time to have a conversation. Hey, hello, attorney. I changed jobs 6 months ago. Here's the new duties. Here's the old duties. Is that a concern? Hello, attorney. I got stopped for a DUI. It's going on now. What do you think I should do?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm going to state one of my immigration lawyer's frustrations is we don't know about issues like this usually until it's ready for somebody to file an I-45. Literally, Sam, I just talked to somebody within the last hour about, hey, congratulations, I-140 approval, and your priority date's current EB-1 approval. And, oh yeah, by the way, I have a criminal issue, in my, I don't think it's going to be a big problem for him, But
But
it's
a
sort
surprise.
Of, that changes all sorts of calculus for us, and it's the sort of thing where it's nice to have resolved. I don't know. It's nice to have resolved now rather than later. Anything? I guess there's probably. I mean, I don't think there's really going to be much change in terms of how they address criminal things in I-485. Do you think?
I think it will be subject to more of a strict scrutiny.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty good now in going after them, but maybe your friend that just got approved for naturalization the other day, without mentioning the facts of the case, would not have been approved.
Yeah, somebody who technically they could have put in removal proceedings instead of approving his N-400, and well, I'm glad he got his interview, just had his interview a couple weeks ago in lieu of, a couple months from now. Yeah.
Yes.
A good result in that case, Sam, even though it had a little bit of an issue in it. Interview.
Well, more of a relaxed administration, more of kind of allowing people to make some decisions based on the totality of the circumstances instead of being strict, ridiculous about things.
Yeah.
And the decision was sound legally.
Oh yeah,
The direction they took was legally sound.
Yeah.
The other direction would have been to deny, would have been perhaps also can sit on good legal foundation.
Yeah.
This administration will take the approval.
Yeah.
The next administration, we don't know, but we think will probably take it the other way.
Yeah.
And this is the sad thing is when there is a situation where you can make a discretion to go one way or the other. I think the discretion with this administration, with the Biden administration, slices in the direction of approval.
Yeah.
The next administration probably going to slice in the direction, perhaps, of the disapproval.
And it's not like we're not going to be able to get approvals during the incoming administration. I read, for example, as doing a research related to L visas, that their denials were up significantly during the prior administration. And maybe I saw a little bit of scrutiny, and it's more scrutiny, but still approving cases. Yeah.
Well, this is the 5 things we wanted to kind of share with you. These are not mutually exclusive. There's many other things you can do. Think about, hey, where my immigration status now? What can I do before January 20th to be in a good position? It's not like January 20th is going to come and pass and then the world will change. After all, Trump is his last, he doesn't have to run again. Yeah. And therefore, I think ultimately every human being likes to do the right thing. I think his legacy is important.
Legacy is the word creeping through my mind.
Is important about what people will say about him 20 years from now is going to be important to him and his family. So he may surprise us. So I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope he does.
Yeah.
Shall we switch gears, Brian?
I think we shall switch gears. Let's see if my button setup works. Yep. Hey, we're back full size with our names on the bottom of the screen there. Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the time when we will be taking questions from you, and please bring them on, and we will do the best we can to answer them. If you can put that top screen to the bottom screen, because I cannot look up.
I can do it. I can take care of that.
Awesome.
That for you. There we are. Yep.
And just remember, we don't know enough about your case for us to give you a comprehensive legal advice. We're going to answer questions that are based on a very short question with a very short answer. If you find something interesting that might pertain to you or important to you, you should counsel with an attorney of your choice that can help you out with your case, knowing the totality of your case. So consult with an attorney of your choice to discuss your case before you make any decision. Having said that, Ryan, let's take the first question.
All right, Sam, but I can't guarantee that my answers are going to be short. I know myself well enough to.
Well, I mean, short relatively.
There you go. Not lacking, maybe lacking depth. Yeah. So from Wesley. Hi, Sam and Brian. Is there a reason why FB spillover numbers disclosure is delayed?
That's a great question. I don't have an answer.
My answer is yes, but I don't know the reason for it. And I don't think we ever will, Wesley. All I do recall is reading on the Employment-Based Adjustment of Status FAQs that they expect there to be more of it, greater for this year, for reasons why I can't fathom. But yeah, more of it, not as much as last year, but maybe more than you expect, based upon I think is what they said. So yeah. We'll cross our fingers and wait.
Maybe we can file a FOIA.
Sam, get out of my dream FOIA list. I don't think you're going to get any sort of information about that one. It's too vague.
If you don't ask, you are not going to get a question and the answer to your question for sure.
It's just, I want Sam, I want to understand. I want a FOIA relating to how I want to see their algorithm for calculating the visa availability on the visa bulletin. I want a breakdown of
FOIA number 2
of how they account for the H1B cap.
FOIA number 3. Keep going.
Yeah, and it seems like, and I think what the response I get for those FOIAs is going to be a video response along the lines, no, Yeah. An invitation to sue them because they're not going to give me that information. Yeah. So, Sam, would you like to?
In other words, pick your battles.
Yeah.
Hi, appreciate you both for taking the time to answer questions. My EAD and advanced passport expires in August 2025. Should I apply for renewal before January 20th, or should I apply only within 180 days before expiring? Well, the rule is you have to apply within 180 days. Mm-hmm. That's the rule. If you apply now before the 180 days, you may not get an approval because you applied too early, especially when they review it. It's going to be the new administration, Brian.
Yep.
However, in my opinion, what's the downside?
I'm getting at my hand scales, and I don't really see the downside because as long as you filed before April 1st, 2024, your I-45, the filing fee for an EAD and AP is zero. Nothing, which means you're at the cost of a FedEx or USPS and your time to do the forms. And well, you have plenty of time and you can spend it however you want, and it's not a crazy way to spend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, from Ignazo, my I-140 has been processed since late August. Do you think I should do premium processing before January 20th, 2025?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not a crazy answer. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I would do a premium processing, get it out of the way, for crying out loud. Why would you want to wait for the new administration to get your I-140 reviewed by somebody who now want to put it through the, the microscope?
I mean, I'm going to maybe talk about I-140s generally. I haven't seen an I-140 RFE in a very, 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 very long time. Now, we're crazy about our I-140s. We are very thorough, but I can't imagine that paradise that we are living in is going to continue into the next administration. Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah. I suspect that there will be more scrutiny and that sort of thing. And there's a nice thank you from Ignazo, which you are welcome. So from Arendam.
I'm planning to apply for H4 F1 change of status so that can take up internship opportunity in a college. Shall I apply for premium? Shall I apply for premium or regular processing? Do you see a challenge of getting F1 change of status approved under the Trump administration? I honestly think that you should apply for premium. And I'm not saying if you apply regular processing, it's not going to be approved. But F1 visa also will go through a massive reconstruction. It's very conceivable that the 3-year OPT will be gone.
That's by regulation. I forget how we ended up. So obviously there's regulations that provide for the 1-year OPT, and maybe provided some employment authorization may be provided in the law after a student. I don't know if there is. I've never really read that much detail. But both those regulations that cover both of those, and I know that the regulations are for the STEM OPT are pliable because I remember they got changed around in 2017 relating to some sort of I forget what the problem was with the program, but basically I think it was the program was going to get tossed out or something, or there's something.
It was the last change the Obama administration did and took effect in the Trump administration.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, there has not been any positive, forward-moving regulations since then.
Yeah.
This administration, Biden administration, didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Yeah. No, they haven't touched
the Trump administration, everything was proposed, most of it got shut down, and none of it was forward moving. It was backward moving.
And again, I would emphasize that point. It's they tried to do a lot of things, and because they didn't do it the right way or they waited too late, they lost out on a lot of them, and a lot of the negative impacts didn't really stick. But again, I expect those people to come in with a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more organization this time, and thereby be a little bit more better at getting their job done, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I know premium processing money doesn't grow on trees, but I would definitely do premium processing and get this thing out of the way as quick as I can.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see here. From
Allah Aoun. Hey, gents, should I mail the medical exam or wait until I get notice for the National Benefit Center EB2 adjustment status? You know, I think the suggestion is to mail it, but have a copy, a backup copy with you. And it all depends on your priority date, quite frankly. If your priority date is getting close, wouldn't change anything, but I'm surprised you even did the medical if your priority date is not close. If your priority date is close, I would mail it.
It doesn't hurt, I guess, to have an updated, medical exams on file, because they can issue They typically don't issue an RFE for a medical exam out of turn without reason, like being ready for an interview. But I mean, they will issue have you maintained your work authorization and do interviews out of turn at ridiculous times. So it doesn't hurt.
But if you have the medical in hand, yes. But if you don't have the medical in hand and your priority is not going to be current for a long time, why would you do it? Because I think the medical exam now is indefinite, right?
Yeah,
valid indefinitely.
As long as it's signed before, after a certain date in November 2023, I think it is.
But who knows? Is that going to stay forever?
I can't help but think that the very first Donald Trump signature immigration thing was the whole the travel ban. It was let's just lock this down until we figure it all out. And I think that's would fall in the category of let's lock these things down. Let's just make sure we're keeping a closer eye on these things until we figure it all out. And there you go. So
so yes or no for Allah?
I don't think there's enough information for me to say you should really do that. It's not going to hurt you.
If it's in your hand, mail it. Go out and spend $200 right now.
Yeah.
If your priority is close, yes. Meaning expected within the next 18 months.
Yeah.
If your priority is not expected within the next 18 months, keep the $200 in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair answer. Yeah. From Zainab.
Zainab Duran. Elon Musk recently tweeted about accelerating legal immigration. Consider this. Do you think the EB3 process would speed up under a Trump presidency? Well,
if so, what specific policies or changes could we expect to see?
Well, those guys don't have any restriction about working within the box, and they have already said, Congress doesn't pass any laws yet. Congress cannot pass laws. Congress is not capable of passing laws. We're going to do things on our own. I mean, I don't put it past them to allow adjustment of status to be filed by everybody. I mean, I would not put it past them.
Yeah, you've floated this before. It's a great way to make money for, say, I don't know, a signature immigration plan, like, deporting a bunch of people. If you were to take a bunch of green card applications for somebody and just let them have a pending green card. But I can't imagine them wanting to give out the benefit of a work authorization, an absolutely flexible one that comes with filing a green card.
Because to give out more visas requires Congress.
Yeah.
But there are things you can do. You can administratively recapture. There has been opinions that said you can administratively recapture all the lost visas, unprocessed visas for the last 10 or 15 years. You can just say there's 150,000 unprocessed green cards. We're going to just reclaim them and start handing out green cards. You can decouple the family members from the primary and increase the number.
Instead of 4 family members taking up the primary applicant and their 3 wife and 2 kids taking up employment EB3 green cards, only take away 1 for the primary person. The rest just gets a green card.
Yeah.
Implicitly.
So there are things they can do. These are the potential creative policies within the administration that they can do to do it, and it would be interesting to see if they will do it, Brian.
The inherently disruptive nature of Donald Trump just makes us say, "Oh, wouldn't it be neat if we would do that?" I just don't see it happening. The way the anti-immigration rhetoric coming out of that.
One thing is predictable, Brian.
Yeah.
One thing is predictable.
All right.
That he is unpredictable.
See, I predicted you were going to say that, Sam. So the two things are predictable.
Now, the other thing is that's predictable.
Yeah.
Here's the second thing predictable, is that I have very low faith in them doing the right thing because he didn't do it the first time, Brian.
Well, I'm gonna choose to contradict what Brian just said and be like, well, if there's anywhere where I think they could find some positive immigration, anything, it has to be an employment immigration, right? It's legal immigration. They don't really complain about legal immigration that much. They complain about illegally over the border. They complain against the quote unquote chain migration. One person becomes a U.S. citizen, sponsors the rest of the family. There's a little bit of I don't like H-1B visas, but realistically, you get rid of H-1B visas. What kind of working visas in the United? You get rid of H-1Bs or you massively change them, you won't have working visas in the United States at all. It's really the versatile working visa that there is, and it's not like they're easy to get anyway.
I mean, if you want to create 1 million Republicans overnight.
Yeah. I know. That's the fun little part.
I mean, if you want to create 1 million Republicans overnight,
you find a way to do it.
Process all these people in the backlog because there is close to 1 million people, and trust me, the Democrats didn't do it. And if the Republicans, Trump does it, do you think those guys are going to vote Democrat ever? Never.
I'm very much into the concept of you give people the things they want and they will vote for you. I mean, that's the unpredictable nature of him.
And
I don't think it's very likely, but it just seems like, that's it. It is crazy though, right? It's crazy that he would, and thereby it seems possible. And that's the fun part of thinking about this.
Everybody that gets a green card today can vote 5 years from now.
I know.
Now, it may skip one presidential election, but it's going to catch the next one.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah,
so that would be the selling point for the Republican to do something about it.
Yeah.
Democrats historically, immigrants historically have been voting Democratic.
Yeah.
There's 700,000 potential immigrant that can vote Republican in 5 years.
No, the very Republican warriors, they're importing all these people. They're going to vote for them. Why don't you import? I think there is a consensus, at least in logic people, is that we need immigrants in this country. Why don't you appeal to those people? And the funny thing is, a lot of those people who come illegally, they don't have a path to get citizenship and vote. These people, employment-based, they do. We do it all the time. We see people get there and become citizens.
Well, not only that, Brian, but the Republican Party, this president, won the election by appealing to the Democratic base.
Yeah.
And by taking a chunk of the Democratic base to vote for him, and he won the popular vote and the electoral vote.
Yeah.
And therefore, along with the same mentality and thought, here is the next wave of immigrants.
Yeah.
Make them permanent Republicans.
Yep.
And get them green cards.
Yep.
Next question.
That's a fun little thought exercise, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This one's for you, Sam, because I don't know what it means, but.
All right, Sam, are you, amazing?
Amazing?
Amazing. Well.
Okay.
Yes, we agree.
All right, sure.
If you say so.
Yeah. From Hari Guru. So, hi Sam and Brian. Sorry to follow up. Other user question. Working with employer A on green card EAD. Oh, these are always fun. Moved to employer B using EAD. Employer B submitted H-1B transfer and approved. Is it not possible? Please help to understand this policy. Well, no problem. We haven't been asked this sort of question for a while.
It's an excellent question.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to maybe walk through my version of it.
Yeah, I see it, but I want to see what
I'm going to state it back to the room to basically maybe put everybody on the same page. As I envision this, it's Hari is, or the hypothetical person, is on H-1B with employer A, and they also have a pending green card and have a green card EAD. And then you use that employment authorization to join employer B. even if you don't even join them full time. When you use that employment authorization that comes from your green card, that puts you outside the rules of your H-1B, meaning you don't have a problem, but you are outside of H-1B status. And now, if after you do that, join employer B using the green card, employer B submits an H-1B transfer and it's approved, I kind of have a problem with that.
Yes, I'm going to change the facts a little bit, reaching the same result, which may be what may have happened.
Yeah.
Working for employer A, you get a job offer.
Yep.
Now, employer B filed an H-1B transfer.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Before you receive the receipt notice,
Yeah.
or shortly before you file it, it's right there, there's a little gap. You start working for them.
Yep.
Or you start working for them concurrently. Let's say you overlap for a little bit, and then they file the transfer.
Yep.
So you're still working for employer A, then you're doing a part-time job for employer B, and they say, oh, we like you, let's go ahead and file an H-1B transfer. H-1B transfer doesn't talk about that the employment period that you've worked for somebody else.
Yeah.
And the transfer on paper looks perfect.
Yeah.
And you get an approval.
Yeah. Yeah, this falls in the category of one of my favorite, like YouTube. I think we did I don't know if it was live or we did a recording. It's how does USCIS know? And the answer is they don't. They approve cases. I mean, they don't ask, well, were you really working every day for the last 3 years when you're sending your H-1B? Do you ever, work on the side? And your employer is the one who signs off on the H-1B. They don't know. And they approve cases based upon, yeah, we probably should approve this based upon the evidence they get, and that's it.
What did we say about item number 5? I'm going to bring that PowerPoint here and bring it to the screen, see if everybody can see it. I'm not sure.
Talk to your attorney about your concerns, and eventually, Sam, what if I had some intensely items in that? I didn't, but
talk to your attorney.
Talk to your attorney, yeah.
About your concern.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And this falls in that category.
Yeah.
This is an excellent question, and the new administration, it could be the kind of administration that will be digging for things like this.
Yeah.
And as they dig for things like this, then the stress test, it may fall apart.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about Hari's scenario because he has a pending green card and at all times and has employment authorization at all times, and he should obviously maintain that. But yeah, I mean, there's a legit question for me.
But here's I mean, I'm going to carry that scenario to the next level for you.
To the nightmare, I guess, or no?
To where it falls apart. Files for an EAD. File for an EAD extension.
Yeah.
And the EAD does not come in time, and there's a gap now between the first EAD and the second EAD. But thinking that I'm on H-1B, I'm fine when this H-1B may not be valid.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, that scenario you describe falls in the category of is USCIS going to figure that out, and that's a great question.
And that's I come to the next point and say, this requires a lot of digging to discover it.
Yeah.
I've seen few officers in my time that will dig this out.
Yeah.
Not many.
I've encountered a couple. I remember.
I've encountered a couple.
When I was, I think it was somewhere in the more Midwest than where we are. I went to an interview with somebody, and basically this guy was, going in deep, and I said, his response to me, some sort of question, maybe I looked a little bit incredulous that he was really kind of going into this sort of detail. I was like, well, if she's ever failed to maintain her status, I have to figure that out. And I guess he's technically right, but it's a preponderance of the evidence standard, I guess.
And in my story, Brian, I had encountered a similar situation.
Yeah.
And after going through the whole thing, I commended the officer.
Yeah.
By saying to him, I've done this for a long time. I haven't seen many officers with the level of details that you have interviewed my client. Trying to do a little talk, get friendly with him.
Get on that charm offensive, I understand, yeah.
He turned around and he said, yeah, I have a law degree.
Yeah.
I said, wow, very impressive. Have you taken the bar exam? He said, no, I didn't feel like taking the bar exam. I like my job.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to be careful. That one is a big one. What I'm suggesting is this H-1B valid? It is questionable.
Well, the H-1B itself it's the H-1B approval is valid, but the I-94 is more of
Does that give you status? It's questionable. So you need to go back and pin it square to the attorney that produced it. And if you don't have access to the attorney, a lot of employers don't give access to the attorney to ask questions like this. Obviously, it's all about cost. Little secret is you can FOIA your own H-1B.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And you can get a copy of your own H-1B.
Yeah.
And then when you get it, hire a lawyer and bring him the H-1B petition, give him the date, give him the detail, let them review the document, and then advise you.
Yeah. So, from Wesley, this is a question I like. Is there a way to combine separate green card EAD and paper I-131 AP into single combo card with 5-year valid AP? It'd be cumbersome to maintain a paper copy. It's a question I like, and I feel like you need black magic to combine those things. The answer is no.
Are you asking me to expect that the government, USCIS, is going to be so efficient?
Yeah.
Such that they are going to do that?
Yeah. Essentially, that's some sort of application says, you've inconvenienced me. Could you undo that? Yeah. No. We almost inconvenience you intentionally.
Getting the 5-year valid advance parole was an amazing thing that I have not expected ever.
Yeah.
So my goodness, take it and run with it.
Speaking of intentional inconveniences, do you think they'll bring back the biometrics for the H4s? I mean, that was done intentionally, as far as I can tell, intentionally to confound the process.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Not indeed. I think there's a settlement over. I don't. Well, yeah. It's just all the more. So, is it risky to mandamus for AOS? Imagine that's AOS, adjustment of status, pending for 18 months.
It all depends on the priority date.
Yeah, how long it's been current. Yeah.
How long it's been current. I encourage people to be a little bit more patient, so you have a more of a colorful case, colorable case.
Yeah.
When you file. What do you think, Brian?
Well,
if the priority date is 18 months, yes.
Yeah. Sam, I'm going to maybe pull apart the question. Is it risky to file mandamus action in general?
No.
Yeah. You basically, your worst case, you're asking for them to make a decision. The worst says, no, it's not timely to make a decision. But whether you find a willing attorney at 18 months is the fundamental question there. It seems a little bit premature for me. Yeah. I know, you want the green card, you deserve it, frankly, but it's, I think about, how's this going to look in court? You're right, there's also a lot of devils in detail sort of things. It's, how long was your priority date been current every day of that, Yeah,
if it's been current for a long time, or you're one of those people that became current and then became current twice and it didn't process, and you're beyond the processing time, I mean, all that plays into the decision, but as a general rule, I'd like to have a little bit more delay.
Yeah, it's some of the things you just have to go by gut on, and I think we're on the same boat on that one.
Yeah.
From Runyon, can we laminate the AP paper? It's difficult to maintain paper for 5 years.
No.
Yeah, I would have an alternative take. What you can do, go to your office supply store. You can get those, sleeves for paper, just protective.
Removable sleeves.
Yeah, those removable sleeves, and that's save it from spills and chills and thrills.
And have high quality scan.
Yeah.
Available multiple places. Arguably, you could probably use a scan copy if you lost the original or it got destroyed, or if it's like damaged inadvertently, and you have a copy.
No, I wouldn't
count. You get the original, and then you have a copy.
I'd say you can argue it if you're outside the United States, you need that advance parole to come back, and this is your only option.
Yeah, but if you have one that has it's faded.
I see.
It's faded.
Yeah.
And then you have the original.
Yeah, that's good business. I mean, I'd say don't laminate, obviously. That won't make them happy. But get one of those sleeves. Whenever I see so many people,
you have to protect it. You know, one of my
get a little safe.
One of my favorite cases is a gentleman from an African country who has a engineering degree, and this was issued in the mid 1900s.
Yeah.
He was older, and this story is 20 years old. And at that time, he tells me that I think the school in Africa was managed by Oxford. So it's a very reputable degree. He received an engineering degree, but they give him a piece of paper.
Yeah.
They give him a piece of paper, that's his degree. It got folded so many times, you practically can see through it now. And that's his college degree. And he's Canadian citizen, and every time he goes to the border, he gets rejected.
Yeah, it has
He just opened it, and it looks terrible. I mean, it looks like this thing is fading away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had to go represent him every time. I represent him more than one time to get him through.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, faded paper can create doubt and create suspicion, and therefore protecting it and doing what you said, laminate it, put it in a cover.
Yeah,
but
not laminate, but put it in one of those protective sleeves. Yeah.
Protective sleeve, and then take it out and air it every once in a while because that protective sleeve can bleed sometimes.
Oh yeah, no. As a guy who has lots of old things, yeah, the plastics in the rubberized sort of plastics can break down and destroy
With
things.
time.
So you should replace those every now and again. I have some old electronics that have things on that and you gotta replace them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're worried about it, you know, fundamentally, it's not like you have to pick up the advanced parole much. It's only when you travel, and I'd say put it in a fireproof box.
You can put it in a plastic sleeve and put papers on both sides of it. You know, regular paper to protect it.
Yeah.
But yes.
Oh yeah, like this little piece of cardboard to keep it.
Not illegal advice, but practical advice.
Yeah. We've gone outside the legal. That's for,
All right. So let's
sure.
take the next one.
Yeah. Wesley, do you foresee a family-based restriction based on country of origin like we had in the last administration this year as well? And will it inadvertently help EB category spillovers?
We anticipate a new Muslim ban. Yes.
Yeah.
Now he's not going to call it a Muslim ban because
They call it a state sponsor of terrorism ban.
Yes.
But realistically, the state of the world right now, it could be more. It could be more countries than we saw last time. I think. I mean, I just rattled off a few. You know.
Yeah, and then I can also foresee that if there's 3 people in certain embassies in certain countries processing immigrant visas, that position is down to 1 person part-time.
Yeah.
So now, instead of processing 150 applications a week, they're processing 25 applications a week.
All to the benefit of the enterprising individual who's already in the United States with waiting for an employment-based priority date.
Yes.
In theory, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can foresee that, Wesley.
Yeah, that doesn't sound crazy. Well, it remains to be seen, but yeah, doesn't sound crazy. Boom. So.
Hello, Sam and Brian. I have an H-1B extended until 2027. I have an EAD and an advanced parole valid until 2029. And my priority date is 2014, October. I don't think I'll be called for an interview before 2029, so I have covered all 5 points. Well, very happy for you. I don't know why you don't think you'll be called before 2029.
Raise your hand if you've been to an interview for somebody who with a 2014 priority date. Yeah.
So you're in a good spot, my friend. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's for sure. However, I don't know what country you're from. If you're from a country that is on our wonderful next president's list, don't leave the country and come back, even though you have advanced parole. That's one.
Yeah.
The second one is we have seen interviews and RFEs in the middle of the adjustment process in the past. That is not unusual.
Yeah.
But in general, I have to agree with you. That sounds like you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Probably better than most people who are similarly situated. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. But just thinking, like, you know, if I wanted to shake out and get rid of a good chunk of employment-based, you know, green card cases, start sending out, you know, silly RFEs and interview notices. Heck, a certain percentage of those are just going to get missed or lost, and that's one case we can deny and get it off the.
I hope not.
I'm getting a little bit paranoid here, but you know, interview notices. All it takes is to not get one of those. It's just, oops, I forgot to file my AR-11. You know.
But they haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know.
I don't think they're going to go extreme.
No,
they have no reason to go extreme.
Mass frivolous RFEs would be ridiculous. But here's the thing, you know, if they said suddenly, hey, I just want to check on everybody who said a pending adjustment status for more than a year. I want to make sure that, you know, I don't know, I want to ask them about Supplement J. They could do it, and it's not like you can say, let's fight this in court. No, the answer is, everybody gets a supplement J as fast as possible.
So it's going to be, the vetting is going to be also based on ideological vetting. So a lot of people.
How are they going to get that in? How are they going to do that, Sam? They got to write some laws for that, right?
Oh, they don't have to write. That's national security. They don't have to write laws for that, Brian. It's your social media accounts. I'm assuming they have to give those up, at least in the DS-160 applications. If you file the recent one, they have your account unless you've changed it.
Yeah.
But they can easily find these accounts. And if you're ideologically not conforming, for example, you're pro-Palestinian, etc., you could get an RFE.
Yeah. What was that? Maybe by
Is it called profiling?
Yeah.
Is it illegal? Yeah. Do they do it all the time? Yeah.
Well, think of it. Like a year and a half ago, you and I, when we were looking for a YouTube topic, and we talked about it on YouTube. We remember there was like a government bid. It's probably maybe it was during the prior. About we're submit data to systems to enter to
compile public records
based upon social media.
Of social medias, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess they're already doing that sort of thing, and if not, they will be again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called now ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's called. We're going to take everything you've ever said on the internet, and we're going to run it through and just say, hey,
You just need an AI.
ChatGPT, what kind of person is this? Like, are they going to make a good American?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, that seems like an awful way to do it, but
it's coming.
I feel like we're going down a bit of a paranoid rabbit trail, but yeah.
I mean, we got Elon Musk on board here with this new administration.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But none of that is coming. We're just talking.
Yeah.
And answering questions in a spirit of entertainment and information.
Yeah.
None of that.
I just think that we're entertaining, but I mean, again, what you said earlier, he is unpredictable, and you don't know what you're going to get. And we are going to be surprised.
Ideological profiling is 100% coming.
Yeah.
Okay, but at what level? And is it at inspection? Is it at stamping? Is that going to happen during adjustment, or is that they're going to review?
I mean, I heard it coming up for like removal proceedings, and I'm like, well, that's a bit of a
Who has time?
What do you mean? Who has time? Elaborate.
How many removal proceedings they have to process, and now they're going to add a layer of profiling?
Well,
they can't give it through when it's simple and straightforward.
Yeah, it takes years to get a removal proceedings completed. That's for sure. Yeah. So a good question. Yeah, got us going apparently. Yeah. So from Sanya Snaidu Dadi. Submitted EB1A I-485, received at the Chicago Service Center on 10/21/2024. Now did not get a receipt. Can you please let me know what is the timeline? What are my next steps?
Did they cash your filing fee check?
That's a great question.
And if the answer is yes, the tracking number is on the back of it, and you should be okay.
Yeah.
We have seen that type of delay, a month delay before.
I've seen more like
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
That EB5 we did. It took that family an absolute age for them to get us receipt notices on those I-485s. We would have filed that in the middle of September, and we didn't get them until the middle of November. About 2 months for I-485.
And also, we had a family case in which this guy freaked out because
rightfully
didn't even cash his checks.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Then finally, no, I think in his case, but he filed for, he did one of these certified checks.
Heavens me, Sam! I hope they don't find more government efficiency in the mailroom, because I imagine just there's just a giant space just full with boxes and boxes, and just like a single guy just going just open up a single guy. I mean, their mailroom is so slow at USCIS already.
Again, USCIS is not taxpayers funded.
Maybe they need a little bit of taxpayer funding to fund the mailroom, because it's rough right now, especially. Yeah. So, I try not to think about the USCIS mailroom that much.
Any guesstimates on India EB1 priority date 2022 becoming current?
Well, this is the point where we type Visa Bulletin into the old Google, or in this case Bing here, and refresh our memories. Maybe Sam has a copy of it there, because we usually have a couple copies lying in here. But
Not today.
no, December visa bulletin. So EB1 India is the final action dates are, drum roll, 1st of February 2022. And
August.
yeah, he's looking. This person's thinking about August.
Filing dates?
These are final action dates. The filing dates are in April. So if this is somebody who's probably looking forward to filing an adjustment of status for themselves. So
End of this year?
it doesn't sound crazy to me. We will
End
get
of the fiscal year.
we will get a January visa bulletin soon, and we'll get an idea as, hey, do they have any movement in those dates for filing, or are we stuck with those dates for filing, or we're just going to see the final action dates and dates for filing get closer for the rest of the year, or are they in the mind space where they're going to be moving the dates for filing?
And that will have a better answer.
Yeah, I think that's a fair answer. I
So
mean,
Jitin Jain come back January and ask us the same question again. Maybe we'll have a better answer.
mid-December, maybe mid to late December when the visa bulletin comes out. But
Yep.
things work in your favor is that EB1 is current for the rest of the world, Mexico, and the Philippines, which means all those visas unused will
Going
roll
to India.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes the potential for movement.
Yeah, I can see a good movement for you guys this year.
So,
All right, taking the last one, Brian.
yeah, and I think this is going to be a half of a one because I'm not seeing a complete question here. I'm seeing, and it's
2 of 1, and it's saying no further appeal. Please advise.
And I don't see from Gianthi Kumar here. I don't
1 of 2, yeah.
see anything else matching up with that. Maybe only part of it got through. So I'm going to there's only one more question beyond this.
Sure.
We're going to answer it, and if Gianthi can fill in the blanks for us, we'll go. So
I got an RFE for 1 criteria on October 11 on EB1A. Met 2 criteria. Is it advisable to respond to this RFE before January 20th RFE deadline? Is January 13th. I want you to think possibly of approval. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
You want to get this thing back in their hand as quick as possible.
yeah.
You want them to make a decision before January 20th. Trust me.
Bright side, nobody wants to get an RFE, but now you have one issue left to resolve. I'd rather take an RFE on one issue rather than an RFE on all 3 of them. That's
Yep,
for sure. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
All right, with that, thank you guys.